Good afternoon, family. This is Pastor Robert speaking to you on the end of the day on Tuesday for the sixth sign, the sixth miracle in the Gospel of John, the miracle of healing the blind man. Now, the prophet Isaiah in chapter 42 prophesied that the Messiah, the servant of the Lord, would open blind eyes. And so here we are, Jesus opening the eyes of the blind. Now, there's several things to talk to you about, with this chapter 9 of John, so run with me. The first one is this. The translation is strange in this passage in chapter 9 because what happens is the disciples see the blind man and they ask the Lord a theological question. They said, Lord, did his parents sin or did he sin? Why is he born blind? Back then they actually believed that the fetus could actually sin, or the mom could have sinned while she was pregnant and cause this. It was complicated. And if you read the passage, the translators kind of took a stab at the language and added words that are not actually in the original text. And remember, the original Greek, the New Testament was written in Greek, did not have punctuation, and so determining where you put the period is essential. And so rather than reading it to say, the reason why this guy is blind is because he was waiting for me to come and heal him, instead, listen to how Tyndale's commentary says, is another very viable translation of this sentence. The translation that Tyndale suggests is, neither this man sinned nor his parents, but so that the works of God may be revealed in him, it is necessary for us to work the works of him who sent me while it is day. Night is coming when no one is able to work. So in essence, what this translation is saying is that what the Lord was actually saying was, he's not this way because of his sin or the sins of his parents, but in order for the works of God to be revealed in him, it's necessary for me to work. So the issue is that the works of God was another way of the Lord describing or speaking of miracles. In order for the miracles to occur, I must work in his life. Not that I made him blind so that I could work now. Anyway, it's an interesting clarification, and so I encourage you to look again at that passage. But look what happened, what Jesus did right after that. He said, as long as I am in the world, I am the light of the world. When did we hear this before? Genesis 1:1, when God said, let there be light. Then what did Jesus do? He got down on his hands and knees, he spit in the ground, and he fashioned eyeballs. He fashioned mud balls and put them in the eyes of the blind man. When have we seen that before? When God fashioned Adam and breathed on him, here's Jesus, the light of the world, fashioning eyeballs for a blind man, telling him, go and wash. He went and washed, and he came back seeing. The blind man believed Jesus, was led to this pool, washed his eyes, and came back seeing. Okay, so that's not the end of the story. The Pharisees were livid because Jesus worked on the Sabbath. He made a mud pie. And because of that, they were more concerned about keeping their understanding of Torah as opposed to rejoicing for a blind man that could see. And so we get the deeper meaning of this sign when the Pharisees came to him at the end and said this. They said, we are not blind too, are we? Because the Lord had said, I've come into the world to bring judgment, he said. This is chapter 9 and verse 39. For judgment I came into the world, so that those who do not see may see, and those who see may become blind. So here the Lord is saying that spiritual sight and spiritual blindness is revealed when Jesus comes to you. And the Pharisees said, we're not blind, are we? And the Lord answered and said, if you were blind, you would have no sin. But since you say we see, your sin remains. So the Lord connects seeing and being arrogant in your ability to see as a way to shut off forgiveness in your life. But if you admit that you don't see, that, Lord, I need your revelation. I need you to help me to see. I'm in the dark and I need you to give me light. If you come to him and say, Lord, be my light. I am in the dark. I need your light. He will give us forgiveness. But for those who say they already see, he says, I cannot help you. and your sin will remain. Jesus said, as long as I'm in the world, I'm the light of the world. But then he says to us, to those who place their faith in him, you are the light of the world. You bring the light of God into people's lives. Brothers and sisters, during this virus time, bring the light of God into every relationship you have. And be humble and say, Lord, I need your light to see. And he will give you sight and take away your sins. Thank you. I'll see you tomorrow.